of all, good morning to you. My name is Carlos Medina, Learning Services Manager at San Diego Grantmakers. And this is our Thirsty Impact Thursday webinar for May. And as I mentioned, just want to cover a few housekeeping components before we get started. First of all, this is going to be a very interactive discussion. Looking forward to a lot of people's feedback, perspectives, and ideas. And we would ask if you could please mute your microphone until which point you want to speak, just so we have an opportunity to hear folks and it minimizes disruption. Additionally, on the bottom of the screen, you'll see where there's a chat box. Feel free to type any questions in there that you have, and we'll ensure to try to get to them all before the webinar is finished. And if we can't, we'll follow up with you with the responses. And then additionally, just wanted to point out, if you click on the speaker view on the top of your screen, it will enlarge the square that the speaker's in, which might make it easier for this presentation to view. And then I also wanted to let everyone know that this webinar is being recorded. And so if there's any information you'd like to access later, it will be available to you. I know there's a few folks in here on the call, and I heard some introductions or some relationships who are already in the room, and I'd like to take a minute just to do a quick round of introductions of folks who are here with us today. And I'm going to go ahead and do a popcorn reading style and just call up the folks that I see on the list. If you would be so kind as to just share with us your name and also the organization with which you are affiliated. So I'm going to go ahead and start here. Start from the bottom of my list. I see RBL.
Yeah, good morning. Bob Link here. I'm with CNN Universe in National City, and we're looking at investments in modular housing to relieve the housing crisis.
Thank you, Bob. And Kimberly Bone.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Bone. I'm with San Diego Grantmakers on the board.
Thank you, Kimberly. Welcome. Also, Melissa Padilla.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Welcome, Melissa. And then also, I'm going to let Robert introduce our speakers for today. Before I hand things off to Robert, I just want to also provide an opportunity for Debbie McKeon also.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Debbie McKeon, CEO at San Diego Grantmakers. It's a pleasure to be here today. I learned a lot when I first met Austin, and think he is doing amazing work. And I'm just excited that he's going to share what he's working on with all of us today.
Wonderful. Thank you, Debbie. And I'm going to go ahead and hand things over to my colleague, Director of Impact Investments, Robert Foster, over at San Diego Grantmakers. So Robert, if you can please take it away.
Sure. Well, thank you all for being here today. And we appreciate you turning out. I know during a pandemic on a weekday in the middle of the day, it's not exactly the same Thirsty Thursday experience that we've had in the past. And we're working to adapt to that here at Grantmakers, and we'll keep you posted on how that moves forward. But the point of this is to bring together a community, and sometimes the smallest communities are the most powerful. So thank you for being here with us today. Our start today, Austin of Rhymes with Reason, actually came to us through Founders First Capital. And I would like to introduce Oralia Alvarez from Founders First Capital. And it's one of the coolest impact investing entities in San Diego. They've got a significant capital store in the millions, and they're deploying it in very thoughtful, innovative ways. And so without further ado, let me introduce you to Oralia, and Oralia will go ahead and introduce Austin, since it's through her that we had the privilege to meet Austin. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you so much for that, Robert. So it's my honor and, of course, my utter delight to introduce you all to Austin Martin. He's the founder and the CEO of Rhymes with Reason. He was actually recently named top 30 under 30 by Forbes for his innovative educational technology. Rhymes with Reason is an online learning platform that's engineered specifically to increase literacy rates for today's youth by delivering verbal, linguistic, and standardized prep-focused education via popular music streaming. Martin got the idea of Rhymes with Reason after learning that 67 of the top 100 SAT words can actually be found in recognizable hip hop songs, which he refers to as the world's most popular and equitable word bank. And I thought that was genius, of course. Rhymes with Reason is used in over 100 education programs. And recently, Austin Martin has a very impressive collaboration with musical artist Chance the Rapper Social Works, which is a youth empowerment initiative. And Martin is also a fellow at Echoing Green, one of the most respectable organizations for social entrepreneurs in the entire world. And so we're very delighted to have him join us this afternoon to really learn from him and understand how is it that Rhymes with Reason is helping students to learn, obviously, given the current stay-at-home guidelines, especially in communities that have been disproportionately affected by COVID-19. So Austin Martin, take it away. You're the superstar.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. That's one of the best introductions that I've ever had. So I definitely appreciate that a lot. Yeah, thank you so much for all of you for having me today. I think that I guess my background was summed up fairly well just now. But I think I'll just start the conversation by just explaining a little bit of how I came up with all of this. In the introduction, there was a bit of it with that 67 out of 100 words. But if I trace a little bit back further than that, the journey of building Rhymes with Reason really started when I was a kid, a kid that was always recognized as smart, always recognized as talented. But for most of my academic career, really until high school, just did not find school like interesting, didn't find school relevant. And because of that, I just didn't really care and didn't engage in it the way that I probably should have to garner academic success. But the area where I did spend that level of time, energy, and interest was with music, particularly hip hop music. And the thing that I just thought was so interesting about it was the way that artists and young people from diverse backgrounds, like when I speak about the artists, that's really what I really mean. Young people from diverse backgrounds, I was intrigued and I admired and related to their ability to put words together in a genius fashion. And that's what drew me into the genre. Their grasp over figurative language, their allusions to popular culture and history, and of course their vocabulary. And I learned so much actually through this independent immersion in the music that eventually it actually made me think that school was interesting. It was the like hearing my favorite rappers and my favorite artists, exhibit these skills, and then realizing over time that these were many of the same skills that I was required to master in school, made school seem cool to me, seem cooler. It took me a while to get that. Once I got that and I kind of matured as a person, that I started to take off as a student. And in that time when I started to take off was like ninth grade, maybe 10th grade. And after that point, I took off, and by the time I graduated high school, I had a 4.0 and was accepted to Brown University. And at Brown, that's when I did that initial research about how many SAT words could I find in this music, and how many SAT words are hiding in plain sight, in plain sight of what students are experiencing every day and listening to every single day. And how can we leverage not just SAT words, but common core words and literacy skills and all these other things that are kids are voluntarily engaging with. They just don't know it. How do we bring that to the light and allow them to benefit from that? So that was like the questions that I was asking when I first started building Rhymes with Reason. And when I was an undergraduate student, I piloted it at several schools and built it over time, and formed a team and people that kind of joined the movement, and we kept building and building, and from there it grew and grew into the product that it is today. And we've worked with thousands of students across the country. We've worked with artists like she said, Chance the Rapper and his nonprofit. We've had some amazing experiences along the way. And one thing too to mention, I'm excited about, is I'm going to be running the company full time next year, but I will be getting a master's at Harvard Graduate School of Education. Yeah, it's been an amazing journey, and my mission really just is to, like it says here on this first slide, design learning that can engage the Generation Z student, have a learning experience that actually makes kids fall in love with learning, because this product and the resources that we create reveal to kids that excellence is adjacent to where they already are. It's already in them. It's already right next to them, and we show them how. So that's my, I guess, introduction of myself and Rhymes with Reason.
So Austin, do you have more slides to your deck, or is that it?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
That's just that's a quick introduction. If we could go to the next slide, that'd be excellent.
All right, perfect. Got it. Just wanted to check in.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, so that's just an introduction about myself and how this all came to be. But another part of why this all came to be, not how, is the problem that we are attempting to solve. And that namely is a gap in not just exposure, but a gap and a disparity in the ability to learn words. And there's many different factors that contribute to this gap.
Austin?
I'm going to go ahead and just send Austin a text, just double check that if there's any issues with this phone. 1 second.
Thank you. Okay. Well, while we wait for Austin to come back on.
Hello, sorry about that. I do not know why it just disconnected. That was weird.
Right, well, we're back
my
now.
apologies. Yes.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
So one of the core issues that we the why, one of the key whys again behind what we do with Rhymes with Reason is making it so that people there is a large disparity in exposure and the ability to learn words. And this disparity there are many contributors to this disparity, like I was explaining, one of which is literally just the class in which you're born. You know, your parents and their exposure to words and their education level will in turn inform your exposure to words and your ability to access vocabulary at a very young age. Then as you go up the ladder, and language, of course, is a part of this gap. But then as you go up the ladder, if learning words and learning language and learning literacy skills are not made culturally appropriate or made relevant or made easy to grasp for you, and you're already behind the 8 ball, your chances of developing these skills lessen even more. And the reason why learning words and developing these skills is so significant is because there are all kinds of statistics that people talk very often about the school to prison pipeline. But what is even more of an accurate description is a literacy to prison pipeline, or an illiteracy to prison pipeline, if you will. So they say that 75% of folks that are in prison perform on the 2 lowest levels of literacy. So there's a direct correlation with your ability to read, your ability to grasp vocabulary and build these skills, and your ability to be a free person in our society and avoid prison and be a contributing member to the workforce, et cetera, et cetera. And this piece here about the word gap, again, where, you know, kids with professional parents have vocabulary 50% greater than working class children. That's like the manifestation of this entire cycle, right? You know, people become professional because of their ability to learn words and build these skills. And then they have children that learn from them and are beneficiaries of the skills that they've built. And the other outcome here is what happens when these skills are not built over time. So words and literacy are extremely, extremely important in determining life outcomes in our society. So if you'll go to the next slide, that would be great. So what is Rhymes with Reason, right? So how do we tackle that problem that I just explained? The way that we tackle it, which was alluded to in the intro here, is that we have created a technological resource, a web-based resource that allows young people to tap into the most equitable, the most accessible cultural force in the world, popular music, to learn words and develop literacy skills. And the reason why I say it's the most equitable, I love that word equitable, is because it could be a young person that simply just has a radio, you know, somebody that is living in a project that, you know, just has a radio, and they have access to popular music. And you could have somebody that lives in a penthouse that has similar access to, they have more access, but they have access to popular music. And that person in the project and that person in the penthouse often actually listens to the same music in today's day and age, if they're in the same age range. And that's a whole nother thing. But we are using that commonality and the fact that this music is built off of words to help this next generation. So, yeah, Rhymes with Reason is a web-based educational platform that uses students' favorite music to assist mandated standard-based literacy-related learning. So as you could see here on the slide in this title card, that shows how how words are introduced. So here's the word arrogant, and it's used in a Beyonce song. The student gets to actually listen to how Beyonce uses the word arrogant, and then we break it down and explain the context around that word. We have sample sentences, and then below you see a graphic of all the different matching exercises, all kind of variations of multiple choice, analogy, context clues. Coming this year, we have point of view exercises, word choice, more meaning-making types of exercises. And these exercises also happen to be aligned with standardized tests. So the intro to the learning happens through this familiar context, and then the learning becomes elevated and aligned with skills that help students master standardized exams. And these here are videos that we don't have to watch now. Maybe we'll circle around to those later. But if we go to the next page, that would be great. So here, basically, the next two slides here really explain that there's many different kinds of reason is used. One is students literally can just access this on any device and go through the learning experience on their own in a self-paced manner. So there's modules that start from 4th grade difficulty level all the way up to 12th grade difficulty level. And it's all these, we have, there's in the ballpark, total lessons and questions, it's like probably about 5,000, 6,000 lessons and questions. But in terms of songs, there's 1,800 songs, and students have all this content that they can learn from and go through as they rise up the ranks from 4th grade to 12th grade in terms of difficulty level. And they can do this in a self-paced capacity where they have a pre-test and it determines where they are, and then they grow and ascend up the ranks over the course of the experience. So that's kind of like what that illustrates here. And part of the experience which we really like and students really like is students have the ability, the way we describe units of learning is playlists. So students have the ability to kind of curate their own units, pick artists that they like, pick examples that they want to focus on. And it looks and feels a lot like Spotify or Apple Music, and has this playlist format, again, because a big part of our goal is to meet students where they are. So that shows that piece. And next. So here is something else that we do is that this is often woven into instruction. Teachers can really do some dynamic things with Rhymes with Reason, and we have on our team, our team is built of folks from many different disciplines, but one, of course, is education. Folks that have gone to Harvard Graduate School of Education and other places. And we've developed modes of experiential learning with Rhymes with Reason. So stuff that's not just the student doing it, on their own, but things that make this experiential, where students can be in groups and do activities together and perform what they're learning and showcase it. And, this piece, the first piece is with the self-paced in-app experiences, maybe more of the COVID-19 quarantine appropriate utilization. But this here, if a school is using Rhymes with Reason, the teacher can facilitate activities in person or on Zoom or however. But this is what makes it more than just an app, but an experience and something that is deeply a part of curriculum. So if we'll go to the next piece. Actually, skip past this because this kind of covers what we just talked about with the in-app. So this is just, we've worked with, many schools and collaborators, and this is just a little bit of who we've worked with here. Yeah, there's many more that aren't pictured, but we worked with, on a district level, we worked with Hampton City Schools in Virginia with their middle schools, all of their middle schools in the district. At least they have access to Rhymes with Reason, all the middle schools in the district, and they use it within various departments in the district. Also, here in San Diego with the juvenile court and community schools. And in San Diego, also E3 Civic Charter. We've worked with Helix in the past. What's here in San Diego? I'm trying to think. I think those are the only San Diego folks off the top of my head. But yeah, we worked with high schools in New Jersey and Illinois, New York, and many more. And schools often use Rhymes with Reason with students that are struggling, that are behind their level. And that's very much of Rhymes with Reason's utility, is to lift students that are behind reading level up to where they should be. And then here it also shows that we've worked with Chance the Rapper's nonprofit in Chicago, and I'll get into that a little bit more. So if we could go forward. Yes, so this is the piece that we did with Chance the Rapper's nonprofit, Social Works. And what we did, which is a unique thing about Rhymes with Reason, is we built what's called the Chicago Learning Playlist. So they sponsored access for students in Chicago to utilize Rhymes with Reason. And they're slated to do the same this summer as well. The unique thing about it is with our system, we are able to source our content from so we source with this, we made this playlist that was just Chicago artists. So, it had, of course, Chance on there, and Common, and Kanye West, and, a lot of the Chicago-based artists. So the content can be curated and themed according to many different things. Even if, let's say an organization wanted to do financial literacy, which we're shopping that idea around a little bit. But different organizations and interest groups may have different target areas that they want to teach, and our system finds this content from within popular music and puts that out for students to learn from. So that's a little bit about that piece there. So we go next. Yes. So it's been a fun ride. We talked about this earlier. Gotten some great praise. Oh, one school that I didn't mention that we worked with in San Diego is they are part of JCCS. Is the Monarch School. And on the right, there's a teacher in the Monarch School and a couple of teachers that have really, really dug their teeth into Rhymes with Reason and have done some amazing things with it. This is just showing some of the improvement that's happened with Rhymes with Reason. So, on the Renaissance reading exam, in a 2-month interval, students have improved as much as 8 months, 6 months. And it's been pretty incredible in terms of student improvement. This is actually 5th grade. And yeah, when students using this in isolation can improve a great deal, and that's what it's built off of. But when you pair that with an excellent teacher as well, and somebody that makes it dynamic, it can be monumental in terms of improvement in a short period. So that's what we were able to do with the Monarch School here in San Diego. So we can go to the next. Yeah, this here is just and more kind words and things that people have said. This one of a teacher here, or actually she's a behavioral interventionalist out of Illinois, that got access to Rhymes with Reason via Social Works, Chance the Rapper's nonprofit, that talked about how, she's never seen a product engage her students the way Rhymes with Reason has. I've never seen students sit down and actually be attentive to a learning solution in the fashion that they did. Largely, again, because these are, this is the music that these kids are consuming. And one thing that we always say is students walk into class, so they walk through the hallways and they have their headphones in and they're listening very attentively. And then they walk into class, take their headphones out, and they stop listening. And one of our goals is to reverse that, to invert that, make it so that, well, not invert that, but make it so that they're listening attentively in school and when they're in the hallway, and make it so that this thing that has their attention can benefit them academically. There's this statistic actually about music streaming. I think this came out in 2018 from Nielsen, where students spend 40 hours a week listening and streaming music, and they spend 35 hours a week in school. So there's actually more attention, just point blank period, being paid to the music than there is to school. And we want to take some of that attention and move that real estate over into the academic experience. So that's what we're doing with Rhymes with Reason. And we've also had a lot of success in Detroit as well, which is shown here in the bottom right corner, with significant pre-test, post-test gains, things from going from 15 to 100%, 30, I think it's 33 to 71. So significant gains there as well. So we can go to the next here. There's just a little bit about our team. Myself being the founder, a close collaborator and is work on the education side, Jackie and Jordan, and then some of our software guys, Juan and Neil. And then not pictured, we have a lot of people that work on Rise with Reason. Our graphic design lead, his name is Austin as well. I went to college with him based out of Atlanta. We have several interns working with us right now from Stanford and Brown University. We're excited about those folks as well. And we've had the benefit of amazing advisement thus far as well. And that's a big part of getting to where we are. And one person that is not shown right here, but is a close advisor and friend is Kim Folsom, the director of Founders First, that I came through and was connected with San Diego Grantmakers by. So that is a little bit about Rhymes with Reason and what we do. And to close out, here in San Diego and beyond, we want to get this product out to young people and of course, to schools, but also directly to young people. We have a COVID-19 package, special package where young people and their parents can subscribe and access this content immediately. And this summer, it's urgent. The learning loss that is due to happen, this summer, it's significant. There's no sports going on, and so much is shut down. And even if there are summer bridge programs that happen in person and things of that nature, they may not be happening. When kids are sitting inside their homes all summer, with distractions like video games and Instagram and all those other things, we want to give them tools that are engaging, that they can learn from, because these other things are very engaging. They're designed to be almost addicting. When I talk about Instagram and Fortnite and things like that. So we want to take the music that these kids are walking around their houses listening to and allow them to learn from that and prepare for standardized tests and build skills that will push them forward rather than move them backward. So that is a little bit about Rhymes with Reason, and I would, the floor is completely open for conversation.
So, Austin, thank you very much for your presentation. And it was very instructive, and especially, we value your approach to the, your market, right? How do we take this equity divide and solve for it? One big question I have is your consumers, need to presumably pay to access your model. And I imagine that the rich white kid in the suburbs is going to have an easier time paying for your service than the population who would most benefit from this. So how are you solving for that with your business model?
Yeah. So, well, one big thing that we do is like the example of us working with Chance the Rapper's nonprofit is an example where, we have a relationship that's kind of culturally influential, and they sponsor access to a population of students that could really use this and benefit from it. So basically sponsorship is a part of our business model for those that need this and may not be able to easily afford it. In terms of schools, we really just focus our sales efforts on Title I public schools, also charter schools, but schools that operate in more economically distressed areas. And our pricing package and everything that we do with them is meant to suit them and make this accessible for them. We don't particularly market to those that have really high needs, but anybody can access this for sure. It's a constant balance, frankly, between the ability to profit maximize and the ability to solve a problem. But we've created a very flexible model where we can do both. But we do focus our efforts, honestly, on solving the problem. But there is always the ability to profit maximize.
Of course. Bob, I know you had a question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Austin. Very much enjoyed your presentation, and I look forward to sharing a copy of your slides and engaging with you. I'm a member of the board of directors at Uplift San Diego, and Uplift is down here in South San Diego area, and we do exactly work with the Monarch School and do tutoring in that area. I like to engage with you further after this program and figure out, okay, how can we integrate with this with nonprofits and existing Zoom tutoring programs, I guess we're going to for the summer, and figure out how to make that engage. But thank you very much for the presentation.
Of course, thank you. You know what, there's one thing that I would like to do really quickly with the host of this meeting. If we could go to rhymeswithreason.com and share the screen there. I want to take everybody through an actual demo really quickly as well. I think that would be beneficial. And that might answer some, if that makes sense, that might answer some questions that might arise right now. Anyway, if that's possible.
Go ahead and pull that up right now, just a second.
Okay, cool. So if you scroll down on this page to, a little bit more interactive demo, there's a yellow button. Yep. So this is how it works. So we can have fun with this. How about the people here on this call? If you scroll down just a bit, that'd be great. Which artists do you like or recognize on this list? And you could scroll down and check out the list, and we'll pick, or somebody can just call out 2 artists that they want to pick. Let's just do 2.
Cardi B and Beyonce.
Okay. So press check next to Beyonce and then check next to Cardi B. And then press go in the bottom left corner. So the word is introduced, definition, part of speech, and then you can, if you click the play button, I don't know if folks can hear it through the webinar, but it plays that segment of the song where those lyrics appear. Right? I think you can hear it, Melissa, but I don't know if other folks can, and that's okay. Okay, there we go.
Hear it.
So it's great. So there's the explanation, the sample sentence if you scroll down, and then click the arrow that points right. And here's like the different types of exercises that follow, right? So these mirror these standardized tests. So what do we think somebody want to make a guess?
I'm gonna guess A.
Ooh,
Oh,
not correct. So you can listen to it again if you'd like. If you go up and you see the play button right there. Yeah. So she said, "You ain't balling, you just talking." That's that commentary.
So she
So
means
which
insignificant talk.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's just critics, it's just people
Right.
that they're not balling, so they're just criticizing, and she's saying that she takes it with a grain of salt. So if you go to the next, press the next button. There's analogies and then context clue on the next one. Just critique is the correct answer. We just click critique so we can get to context clue here. So, and this is where students start building the inference skills, right? So they have to do this little scavenger hunt for a word or phrase within the lyric that's similar in meaning to commentary, right? So just click on a word in the passage that's similar in meaning to that hints at what commentary is. It's talking. There we go. I click submit. So that's a little bit of like what it feels like for a student. There's much more to it, but that's a snapshot of the process for a student. So I just wanted to show that before, just to add more context.
Austin, this is Kim Bohm. I actually am chair of the board at Reality Changers, so I know Jordan Harrison really well.
Yeah.
I come at this for different angles. So first I want to come at it. I think this is really brilliant. And, I think it gets at kids getting to the different ways in which word is used. And, it does mean that an instructor would have to be prepared to teach this, but that's cool. And that people can talk about this. For example, commentary can be positive. It can be, insignificant, as Cardi B says, and I think that gets at the ways in which language is variable. That's terrific. I'm far more interested in your goal to get at literacy, because literacy means that you can read, write, and speak the language. It's not just that you can speak it. You're able to write it and you're able to read it. And at Reality Changers, many of our students come to English language as a second language. And they come from households where parents sometimes are not literate in their native language. We find this with our students who come from households with Spanish speaking, that they struggle even to be literate in Spanish. So I'm curious how you reach literacy here in terms of how, in other words, how does writing and reading go along with this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically, the exercises on Rhymes with Reason are aligned with what's called the depth of knowledge wheel. So the skills, those exercises that you just saw, and there's other ones that aren't shown right there, but like I said, point of view, meaning, inference, word choice, these are all these are all standards and skills that the U.S. education system has mandated that kids master and learn. I think that certain of those, there are some of those skills that are more essential to becoming literate than others. There are some that are higher level than others. There's some that are lower level. But the depth of knowledge wheel covers, okay, number one, do you literally know what a word means? And then once you start getting to depth of knowledge 2, depth of knowledge 3, depth of knowledge 4, it gets a little bit more complex it's more about context and figuring out inferring what things mean in context using hints, clues, to help you understand what words mean. Now, this product is built for students 4th grade and up. It's not necessarily engineered right now to take somebody that doesn't know how to read at all and teach them how to read. But it's right now, the way that it's built, it's really for students, that are behind level, but like our 4th grade, their level is 4th grade and upwards from there. So it's meant to like pull people up from 4th grade and upward. So yeah, it's in its essence, it is largely based around literacy, but it's also literacy aligned with the requirements of mastery, basically in the U.S. education system.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that model, the benefit of that though is that it pushes students toward getting better scores, right? Which, we've thought very carefully about this as a team. We want to build these skills, and we want students to become more literate, but we also want them to master the system. We also this is also about their ascension through the system. This is about their their ability to get to college and things like that. So we're keyed in on that as well.
It's just, Austin, it's brilliant. And I love this. And I think, as somebody who has written about Black language, African-American language across a century, we can take the blues, for example. You could do the same thing with the blues. It's mastery of language in so many different directions. Are you pushing to do something like this in Spanish too? Have you done this?
That's definitely our next phase. We actually did have an ESL module. We actually still have it, but it's not. That's like, so if a school like says, hey, we really want the ESL module, we will include that in the package. But that honestly just takes a lot more to perfect, and there's a lot more fundamental building blocks that are required to, like you were just alluding to, teach somebody that doesn't have a background in English at all, the language. So we're still like working on that. But we do have a version of it that has been used and is enjoyed, but it's very picture based. It's very image based at this juncture, but we're still trying to perfect that. But as of now, the way that the product really works. It is for what you saw is the focus right now.
Thanks. It's just terrific.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It really is a phenomenal tech that you're developing, and such a great team, and just the awareness that has come into your business thesis, Austin, is phenomenal. You know, as we've talked about a lot here at Grantmakers, one of our big areas of focus is equity and inclusion. And you know, there's never a perfect solution, but what you have is so fundamentally helpful in advancing us and where we need to go as a culture and a society. And also the hook, right? Kids like the gamification as you have it set up, and they've also loved the interactivity that you have. And of course, who doesn't like music, especially when you're having those views shaped when you're young? I want to open it up if anyone has any last questions here before we wrap up. I haven't seen anyone pipe up here.
This is Debbie, if I might ask a question.
Please.
I'm interested in how you see the role that Founders First plays with you being able to design and launch this company, and how it's helping you. In other words, like, what is the role of that type of capital, and I believe their support systems.
Yeah, so with Founders First, we did in 2018, we did a small business challenge. This was a little earlier on, and we've come a long way since then. So we don't have like an investor relationship with Founders First. It's a small business challenge, but the biggest benefit I feel working with Founders First is the mentorship, particularly from its CEO, Kim Folsom. You know, just to be frank, you know, I am a young male of color, and she's a woman of color founder, and the entire premise of Founders First really is to uplift, you know, people from founders from communities that don't often get funding, or where there's not a ton of business ownership. So we really relate on that perspective. And also both Rhymes with Reason and Founders First is also oriented around, like creating opportunity for those that don't get opportunity as easily. And, you know, just being mentored by Kim, who's had, 25 years of experience or more in running businesses, and she's founded, scaled, sold, like she's gone through every stage of business, and also tech is like, that's her area of expertise. Outside of, like, of course, creating the incubator and Founders First. So I would say that the mentorship has really been the greatest asset, and the thing that I've enjoyed the most out of the Founders First experience. That's what I would say.
Thank you very much. That's super helpful.
Yeah.
Hey, Austin. My name is Crystal Sevilla. I am a community finance fellow with Mission Driven Finance. But just kind of piggybacking off of what Robert mentioned earlier, as we talk about spreading access to overlooked and underserved communities, do you provide like a limited version, like a limited free version, so that everyone can access? I know we saw the demo, but is that as far as free access goes?
That is, and what we do, like I said earlier, is we connect with sponsors to there. Free access is possible. And again, that's what we did in Chicago. We're doing more of that this summer with several organizations that say, hey, here's a zip code, here's a number of students, here are a list of schools that can get this for free, and can get this for a year for free, and can even get it how, if I'm the organization, in the manner that we want, like I said, with Chance's organization, they said, we want Chicago artists. They can customize the content even, and then the students in that given area get it for free. So the platform itself is not just open for access right now, but it can be made free for students with the help of a sponsor.
Great, thank you for that.
And if anyone on here knows folks or is connected with organizations that would like to make this accessible for students in San Diego, especially this summer, that would be fantastic. We're based here, and we would really, unfortunately, most of our work happens outside of San Diego. But we would love to do something like that here.
Well, Austin, I want to thank you so much for taking your time and for developing such a beautiful product that really gets the heart of so many issues that are challenging in our culture and times. And I want to thank all of you for taking time out of the middle of your Thursday before a holiday weekend and spending time with us here today for this really compelling discussion. Again, my name is Robert Foster. I'm the Director of Impact Investments here at San Diego Grantmakers. And we are here to support impact investments and create that ecosystem so that companies like yours can not only survive, but thrive in all economies, including a COVID-19 one. So again, thank you all for being here. Stay tuned. We will continue to keep everyone posted out there for opportunities in the ecosystem. And please, everyone, stay safe, stay healthy. And if you have dollars to invest towards impact, don't hesitate. Now is the time. Bye now.